Creativity is an addiction. Unplugged because we will always say yes to creativity. Totally Uncut because we all make mistakes. So let's turn it into a tool. This is Arroe Unplugged. Let's be honest here, okay? Anybody who gives you just enough attention to find interest in what you're doing, be it a hobby, be it your job, be it something that you just want to explore, to find somebody to be truly interested in what you're doing can be a long, long process. And when you do, you try to explain it in a way that kind of dummies down the conversation. Because if you were to bring your entire self into it and why you've got this strange passion to bring these things to life, they're going to go, I don't get it. I don't get it. And they end up going, okay, at least I asked, but I have no idea where you are. And that has happened to me so many times when it comes to the subject of podcasting. If you don't live the life, if you don't listen to podcasting, if you are not part of that circle, it can be something that is very, very difficult to truly understand because there are so many moving parts that have all got to come together to create a connection, not between me and the podcast, but me and you. Now, how do we grow from this? Hey, it's Arroe. This is The Daily Mess, a chronological walk through an everyday world. I am a daily writer. I am the silent wolf. I sit beneath the brush of the trees and I just watch life. You learn from things when you have the patience to just watch and then do a little bit of research. Dig in and find out why is it this is happening. It creates a greater, better conversation. This is The Daily Mess. I did do it yesterday. I made the attempt to explain to a coworker how time isn't important in the world of podcasting. He's going, do you try to break the latest news? Are you like releasing everything so that people can be in the moment? And it's like, well, it doesn't work that way because I could talk about this gigantic movie opening up for the weekend. And by the time a listener receives that episode of the podcast, that movie premiere could have been 1 week ago, a year ago, maybe even a decade ago. Here's a good example. I was blessed to speak with one of country music's biggest legends, Roy Clark, in the year 2014. 9 years later, it's still getting a huge amount of listens. Those receiving aren't thinking, wow, that sounds like 2014. I often wonder if we should practice this more in our everyday society, spending less time mile marking our experiences and just going with the flow. It's completely 100% natural to use music as a free ticket to ride, to allow your thinking and other motions to go back into those days that we always called the good old days. Well, here's the challenge. Don't go back. Allow those old songs to have your present day experience. So many people think, how is it you don't act like you're an old man? Because I don't believe I am. Even though the numbers say, yeah, you're an old guy. But the way I think and the way that I live my life, I take those old songs and I give them new experiences. I don't sit around saying, man, back in 1977, oh my God, you should have seen the world back then. They were wearing bell bottoms, or even today. That's one of the biggest things. I'm going to mile mark it right now. One of the biggest fashion statements in 2023 is the return of the bell bottoms. Now, here's where I've made my mistakes in trying to build a conversation around today's bell bottoms versus the bell bottoms that we had in 1975, 1977. See, back then, we were riding Stingray bicycles. We had 10 speeds. We were always on that bike, and we wore our bell bottoms. And what would happen? The bell bottoms would get caught up in the chain. Now, have that conversation with somebody wearing bell bottoms today. They look at you and they go, huh? I don't get it. The reason why you don't get it is you just told me you don't ride a bike. But in 1975, we did. Everywhere. Every kid had a bike. So when I say that, when I made the attempt to explain to a coworker what podcasting was all about, it's the same thing about having a conversation with somebody who's wearing modern day bell bottoms. Try to explain to them what we did right or wrong back in the 70s compared to how they're designed today. And it's what? Exactly. And so that's why I say, let's take the old songs and give them a new experience. Don't rely on your past to become your legacy. Let your now be the story writer. I'm Arroe, and that's The Daily Mess.